Welcome to the Operation Game Night podcast. I am your host, Travis Smith. Joining me, as always, is my co-host, Clayton Gable. How you doing, Clay?
I'm doing good. How are you, Travis?
I'm great. I am so good. Let's
I'm
talk.
glad to hear it, man.
Let's jump right in. I want to talk about Imhotep.
Yeah, so I'm gonna come out. We had a tough episode. We just recorded a little bit ago. There was a lot of painful caveats going on. I have some caveats about this game.
Ooh.
And they all have to do with our man Paul Solomon.
Oh man.
I'm a big Paul. He came on our show. Check out that episode if you haven't seen it. Check out Gamehead Games. He's doing awesome things there. But Paul is kind of somebody that I've realized his opinions on games very well align with mine. And so when he like says things he hates about games or like why he didn't like a game, they're often the same complaints I have. And when he says he likes a game, they're often games that I end up liking as well. So he talked specifically on our podcast about his love for Phil Walker Harding. And I pressed him. I can't remember exactly. I should have looked it up, but I asked his favorite Phil Walker Harding game, and I'm pretty sure he said it was Imhotep. And I know because I listen to his podcast now that this game is always in like his top 10 games of all time. And so I've been, you don't really see it and it's for sale anymore. It was 2016 by Cosmos. So it's not just out there at your game stores to buy usually. But I was on Facebook Marketplace and I saw somebody in the local area was selling a copy of it. And I snagged it right up on the heels of hearing Paul's lovely description of it. And I got it played last night, and it is what you would expect from a Phil Walker Harding game. Easy to teach, simple actions, engaging gameplay. All right. So in this game, the theme, I don't know. Brown boxes just put me off. I shouldn't be so opposed to a beige box, but you're building pyramids and structures in Egypt. It is what it is as a theme. But essentially, you have these big chunky blocks that are stones in a quarry, and each person has their own stone color. So you're using your stones to load up these boats and then sail them to different ports that end up being just like different places where you can score points. So the gameplay is super simple. On your turn, you can either take 3 stones from the quarry and add them to your sled. And your sled's just like your personal supply of stones. You can only ever have 5. So if you take that action to grab 3 stones and you only have space for 1 on your sled, you can only grab 1 stone. The other action you can take is to place 1 of your stones on a ship that has not sailed yet. The third thing you can do is if a ship has the right amount of stones on it, and each ship tells you how many stones it needs before it can sail, you can sail that ship to any of the boards that you want. So that's where the real engagement and fun of this game is, because you're putting your stones on these ships with these plans to sail your ship to the spot you want to go and take the action you really want to take. But anybody else can sail that ship. They don't even have to have any stones on it. So if they see you gearing up to, you got 2 of your stones and you're going to be able to go to the obelisk space, which is probably the simplest one to understand. The obelisks, if you're watching right now, is like the space where you can stack just your cubes up as tall as you want. And at the end of the game, whoever has the tallest stack gets 15 points. Next tallest gets 10. And the third gets like 5 or something. Another place you can go is the burial chamber. And in this, like the positioning on the boats matters as well, because when the boat docks at that board, the stones leave the boat from the front of the boat to the back. And when you put stones in the burial chamber, you like fill it out as in columns from top to bottom. So the first stone out goes in the top left, next one goes under that, and then there are columns of 3. You start the next column, and at the end of the game, you score points for how big of an area of connected stones you have in that burial chamber. Another board is the pyramid. So the pyramid scores right away. And essentially, it's the same deal as the burial chamber where you unload from front to back. And each like space on the pyramid has a certain number of points. So there's some that are worth 1 point if you're the one that puts your stone there. There's some that are worth 3. So that one you're really trying to time like when your stone gets unloaded to get placed on those pyramid spots and get those points. The temple is a board that scores at the end of every round. And basically there it's just a wall of bricks. And at the end of the round, you score points for each one of yours that is visible from the top. So like when the row fills up, you start stacking again. So at the end of each round, it's kind of like a shifting, point accumulation engine that you can have. And it's pretty cool. The final spot is the market. And if you have stones on a ship that docks there, you can take these cards from the market. Some of the cards you can keep and use them to take an action. And they do things that basically just like break the rule of you can only take one action on your turn. So instead of just being able to put a stone on a ship on your turn, you can put the stone on the ship and sail it, which is a huge benefit. So you can get those type of cards. You can get cards that give you end game scoring points, like the purple cards. They're called statues, and basically you're just set collecting them. And I ended up with like 5 or 6 of those purple cards at the end of the game, and it scored like 15 points, which was cool. So that's like the basic gameplay. Once all the ships that were available dock on a port, and there's 5 boards and only 4 ships, so one of the spaces isn't going to get anything delivered to each round. But yeah, once all those ships dock, the round ends. You score that temple to see who had the most, who you could see from the top. And then you draw a new round card, and that tells you what type of ships you put out. So there's like, ships that have like 5 spaces on the ship. There's ships that have 1 space on it. And so each round, there's just a different configuration of ships that you can put your stones onto. And then the game plays out like that over the course of 6 rounds, and it's a pretty snappy little affair. And I really dug this game because you're just it's so engaging with other people, and your actions are so simple. I mean, deciding whether you want to take stones, place a stone, or sail a ship is basically the 3 things you're deciding to do every turn. If you have a blue card, you can decide to do that. But in that, you're just always trying to think a couple steps ahead of people. Like, okay, I see Josh loaded up his stone on that ship with 2 spaces on it. I could sail that ship somewhere that's not going to matter for Josh. Or I could try and get my stone on a different ship. And it's just that like mind game of trying to get in each other's heads about where they might want to go, where it's going to be good for you to go. How can you set yourself up on these ships so that no matter where they sail, you're going to end up getting something you might want. And just the variety of the different boards. They're simple enough like scoring criteria that you can understand it really quick, but they're all just different enough that it's interesting and makes for a fun game, I think.
Talk to me about the market. How does that work?
The market, so you dock there, and like the other spots, you unload the stones from the front to the back. Each stone that you have on that ship, you can take 1 card from the market. And like I said, they're end game scoring cards, they're action cards, or there's red cards too that like immediately let you place a stone in a different board. So it'll say like, you take the red card, it says immediately place one of your stones in the pyramid. So you can set up a pretty cool turn like that if like the next stone to be placed on the pyramid would be like a 4-point stone is how that works. And then at the end of the round, those market cards go away, 4 new ones come out.
And what about like you have the quarry that has all the different blocks on it of different colors. What about like these individual boards that have 5 of your color blocks? How do those work?
So those are just your like personal sled. So it's just kind of managing when you need to resupply that sled, Because like I said at the beginning, the most you can grab is 3 stones, but your sled only holds 5. So ideally, you don't want to be taking a ton of those turns where you have to restock. So you might be drawn to like really whittle your sled down to nothing left on it, but then you're kind of hosed because now you can't place a stone, and you're kind of, depending on the board state, you might not be able to do anything that you want to do. So finding the right moment where you're like, right now, I don't really know what's going on with these ships. I could use a couple stones on my sled. I'm just going to take some, fill back up, and see what other people do before my next turn. So it's just like kind of like a restocking turn that like you just, it's all about the timing and when you decide to do these things. I don't know how much you can really strategize this game. I've only played it once. I'm sure you can really get into the nitty gritty, but I just thought it was a fun affair. Pretty breezy, 30, 45 minutes. We played it 4 players. It just, I think it's a great game. I might be with Paul. This might be one of the coolest Phil Walker Harding games that I've played. It doesn't hurt. The cubes are fun to manipulate. Like, they aren't regular board game cubes. These things are like blocks, like building blocks. I mean, they are a hoot to handle.
Do you have, I mean, besides the artwork and the drab color scheme, do you have like any other complaints about the game?
I would say just on a first play, I had ideas of what I thought I should be doing, but like I said, I don't know. I think this strategy is kind of elude you, at least for a little while. I mean, you'll still have fun playing because, your ship's going to sail somewhere, your stones are going to be on it, you're going to get to do something. But I had a hard time figuring out that timing of like, okay, it's my turn. I could sail this ship right now. I have one of my stones on it, but do I want to place another stone on it and risk somebody else taking it somewhere? And just those decisions were kind of elusive on the first play, knowing how that was all going to play out. So I don't know. I mean, that would be my only complaint. For the weight of game it is, I think it gives you a heck of a lot of like what feel like interesting decisions. Like I said, I don't know how interesting they actually are, but it feels like you can make some interesting decisions, and you can definitely, I guess maybe another complaint could be that it can feel mean. Like when you just decide to sail a ship that you have no stake in somewhere and just put people off their plan because that seemed like the right thing to do. Like that could rub some people the wrong way, but again, it's a lighter family game, and I don't really personally have a problem with that in a 30 to 45-minute game if somebody sailed my ship somewhere. Because again, you're going to get something. Like, it might not be the thing that you really wanted, but you're going to get to place your stones out, and you're going to get to score points probably, and you're going to get cards. Like, there's not a bad thing to have happen. It's just maybe not the best thing.
Yeah, you might not get the most amount of points. Is the largest ship this like 4-block ship? Is there any larger than that?
I think there's a 5-block ship.
Okay.
Wow. But I could be wrong.
So like on your turn, you sail a ship to the quarry.
The quarry is the supply of cubes. You sail to the pyramids, the temple, the burial chamber, or the obelisk site.
And then they automatically return to the quarry.
Yeah, well, the stones?
No, the boats.
The boats stay docked. So if in that round somebody has already sailed to the obelisk, nobody else can sail a ship there.
Okay. Can you sail a ship before it's full?
Yes. So each like size ship has a number of stone that need to be on it before you can sail. And you can see it like it's printed on the boat. The 2 size ship needs at least 1 stone on it before you can sail it.
Okay.
The 3 or 4 size ship, I think it's 2 and 3. So it's usually like one less than the amount that it can hold, and you
Okay.
can send it off.
I was
And
gonna
there's a
say,
real
like, if you have the four block ship and you like they load one on there and then you sail it immediately, like you could really, mess with somebody's plan. But yeah, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. And then there's also a ship that just is a one-seater, so a little kayak, and it only has space for 1 cube on it. So you are really taking a gamble if you put your stone on there, because it's so easy for someone to just, you know, throw you into the wolves somewhere. But I I think this is just a cool game, and
Yeah.
it's like right at the weight of game that I want to play right now. For people that might not be gamers, but they're like interested in playing a game. Like my brother-in-law and my sister is who I played it with last night, and I was able to explain this to them in 5 minutes, and they had no issues. Like it was just so breezy to play with them. I think this is a great one to have on hand to show people, because again, it feels meatier than your like Unos or whatever, Cards Against Humanity, and yet it still keeps things moving so nicely with that just one action per turn. The action choices are very understandable, and the scoring, as long as you understand the scoring and explain it well enough, people
Yeah.
will pick it up quickly.
Phil Walker Harding has some killer designs and is probably one of our favorite designers here at OGN. What makes this stand out amongst some of his other designs?
Geez, I feel like I'm being interviewed here. This is beautiful. I I definitely, I would say that the interaction with the other players,
Okay.
I think, is definitely way more heads up, trying to see what other people are doing.
Yeah. Pretty high level of player interaction.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just the fact that at any moment your ship can get sailed somewhere. Like you're always paying attention to what everybody's doing on their turn. Where did they put that cube on that ship?
Yeah.
Oh, they put it in the second seat. They probably want to get off on the pyramids and get that 4-point spot. Like those those moments, it's just very heads up. So I'm struggling to think of his other games. Like, I mean, Barron Park is probably another one of my favorite Phil Walker Harding games.
Mm.
And it does have some, like, you're racing for different things. So you kind of have to pay attention to who might be collecting the polar bear enclosures. But this definitely has way more interaction than something like that.
I am interested. Maybe we should keep an eye out for this one at World Series of Board Gaming. Maybe we could check it out from the
Yeah,
library and
I would love
play
to
it.
play this with you guys at World Series of Board Game. It'd be a breeze, and I think we'd have a good time with it.
Heck yeah. Did we do it?
I think we did it. That's
All
a
right.
lightweight 2016 game by Phil Walker Harding, Imhotep. I think there's Imhotep the Duel. I want to check that out too.
Ooh, that'd be
Yeah,
fun.
yeah,
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing Imhotep with us.
of course.
Awesome. This has been OGN briefing Imhotep by Phil Walker Harding. I've been Travis. He has been Clay. And we're out.